heard that phrase. So
Well,
what
that
is,
book is all about that.
yeah,
So
what
it's
is
about
brain?
looking at your program belief systems. So I
Right.
was going to make a list. I just didn't have time. I lost my friend yesterday, a friend
Oh,
of
no.
mine for 40
Oh, okay.
and his name is Bill Randall. And we met when we were 19, and we were really good friends. Matter of fact, my husband and I saw him on our honeymoon when we were in the Cayman Islands, and we just happened to be in the same country at the
Wow.
same time, right? And so I was going to put together a list of, and I'll get to Bill's story in a minute because it's relevant, but um, of what the book's really going to help with. First of all, it helps. I had 29 chronic conditions from being over medicated and misdiagnosed. And those conditions came from a lifestyle choice and from being on those medications. And I just need to close my door because my girls.
Fagala is in there somewhere. The birds are there.
She
Okay.
is, yeah. So I'm misdiagnosed. I'm put on like 29 different drugs, or actually 29 different conditions. I was on 50 drugs. And I used to think it was 17, but as I wrote the book and I got all my stuff, I realized it was 50 drugs all at the same time. And
Wow.
so I'm yeah, right. And so when you are looking at um how you sashay through life, right? You can what I'm teaching you is you can choose differently. You don't have to go with what you learned as a child. And your question to me was there something that happened in your childhood that had me react that way? Yes, boundaries. My boundaries were broke like I don't know how many times. And so some pees on something clean, she's a child, right? The reptilian brain, right? The primal, I mean, you look at it as a boundary, or could look at it as a boundary that's broke. And but the thing is, Vieta, that she didn't break a boundary. I was sick. She was doing what babies do. And so I'm showing people all these things that happen. For instance, the fact that the doctor said that the pain I had, because I tore my rotator cuffs, which is what finally got me to the doctor. They said the pain I had was all in my head. And technically, going back to what you were saying just a minute ago, the pain was all in my head because the brain controls every. Oh, I'm gone.
No, you're here.
You're having fun with that clip.
Yeah, I was trying to put
Okay.
you on the screen alone, but that's okay. You're big. We're big enough. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're fine. So the pain is all in our head, right? And meaning our brain controls every organ, tissue, and cell in our body. And if your subconscious mind believes what you were taught in this lifetime and past lifetimes, or what was handed down through the tissues, meaning your mother and your grandma, all your ancestors, you can either just sashay through life and go with that, or you can empower yourself and choose differently. And the book is really about empowering yourself to choose differently, to have a life filled with vitality and love and joy, and especially joy. Like, really have joy, have fun. That's what Bill Randall was all about. He was the first guy, you know, who didn't try to date me when I was, 20 whatever years old.
Hmm.
We were all good friends. We would go to he showed me and my girlfriends how to have fun. We would get a keg of beer. Now I don't drink, but and I didn't then either. But he would rent a big school bus, right? And he would get like 50 people on the school bus, and we go down to the Cubs game and have fun.
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
That would be a thing to take to the Cubs game.
right, right.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is what he taught me was fun. And when he left with ease and grace. Okay. And he came back and spoke to me this morning. And he said, Jodi, life is about joy. And you need to continue. You need to find your joy. You need to have joy. You need to create joy. You need to breathe into joy. And he lived by that.
Yeah. Now, how old was he?
Probably 60 something.
Oh,
Um,
60.
maybe a little older. Maybe it was 70. He's young. He was young, right? But like everyone else, not everyone, but a lot of people, he bought into the WMC. He bought into the concept that we needed pills. And we don't need pills. We need plants. It's the other P word,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And so plants heal, pills kill. Unless it's curcumin in the pill.
Yeah, or castor oil. I went on this castor oil parasite cleanse, and that pill was doing something in my body that I needed, I guess, to move those little critters out. So yeah, pills can be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I'm talking synthetic pills,
Yeah. Yeah.
synthetic
Yeah.
is what we're talking about. And so, and even, I make the distinction in the book about plant and energy based healing. It's about, we're not talking about synthetic plants. We're talking about real plants. We're not talking about genetically modified plants. We're talking about the real thing.
Now, was Bill into pharmaceutical jabs type thing?
He did.
Oh,
And a lot of people, they didn't know,
yeah.
and so you got to throw grace. And I do believe that a lot of people came here to take the hit, so to speak, to show people what's really going on. And he had misfolding proteins. Are you familiar with that's all about?
Say that again.
Misfolding proteins.
No, what's that?
Misfolding proteins is the reaction that the human body has to the carrot juice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. And I'm on my YouTube channel, so we can't say, those other words either.
Believe me, I know. I was on strike for a whole week for medical misinformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the funny thing about that, Jodi, every day on Telegram or some of these other channels, I read about the problem with the jab, how they're discovering all these things that were wrong with the jab, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to YouTube and, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. But everybody around the world is saying it. There's this British doctor who came on YouTube several months ago, just talking all about the excess deaths that are occurring in UK. And he was taken off for a week too, and then came back and he started talking in a different language. But we are all seeing the truth being revealed around us, and the WHO can't stop it. Really, is what I'm saying.
Well,
WHO.
right. And so here's the thing. There's two things. Number one, you can look up life insurance statistics, okay? And they're paying out more than they've ever paid. Now,
Right.
correlation or causation? Okay? Is it a correlation or causation? But why would that skyrocket? You have to ask yourself, what changed all of a sudden? Right?
Right.
The other thing is certain things have come off the market now. And I don't have the article. I don't save it because I don't want it in my field. I don't like to have that kind of energy in my field anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they took off the market several of the concoctions that were created that I call carrot juice. They're just gone.
Yeah.
Adverse reaction.
Right.
So,
well, and I don't think, you said your friend Bill took the jab and they didn't know any better, or they knew better. They just were in fear. Fear. That's why fear is so dangerous and so powerful. Because even though people, I was given information to my family in 2019 when the whole corona madness started. I was giving information to my family every day, practically sending them articles, sending them everything about this is dangerous, this, don't do this, blah blah blah. They did it anyway. So the fear was greater for them, it's the way I see it, than the knowledge I was sharing with them. And that's what's happening now. Again, the fear campaign is starting, and we're going to see how many people are going to buy into it again, because now it's a little bird that's being affected. They're going to blame the bird for everything. But it's all about letting.
oh, yeah, I heard about that yesterday. So here's the thing. You can replace fear with faith.
Of course, yeah. Faith in what, though? What are they going to put their faith in is the question.
Have faith.
Yeah, what are they going to put that faith?
Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior.
Okay.
And yourself.
Yeah.
And your body.
Right.
To have an amazing immune system. So let me ask you this, and you don't have to answer it because we both know the answer, okay? If we are made in the eyes of God, why are we chopping off the penis when the child is born? No, really, why? And why are we inoculating the child when they're born if we're made in the eyes of God? If we're made in the eyes of God, are we then perfect as we are, or are we imperfect? And if you're buying into the narrative of that you have to chop off the penis, have to inoculate, then you actually lost faith in God, and you lost faith in yourself, and you lost faith in humanity. And if you don't think that's true, I'm going to tell you to pause and think about it for a moment, because why else would you? You have lost faith in yourself and your body to take care of yourself. You really don't want to get me started.
Well, here's the thing about that, how I see it. Number one, medical schools have been indoctrinated with a Rockefeller mentality. I call them the Zionists now, because after the Middle East is just opening our eyes to what's really going on. You could call them the Zionist mafia at this point. But to answer your question, you did answer a question. And I wouldn't say cut off the penis, but we trim the penis for sure. We trim those little boys' penises to get that extra skin, they say, off, and all that misinformation. But we have been indoctrinated with a Rockefeller Zionist mentality. And as a born in a Jewish family, right? How powerful that culture is in the media, the Zionist media, and all that. So the answer to that is the Rockefellers started many years ago, indoctrinating medical schools, paying for medical schools, and teaching misinformation about the man's parts and then the Bible is also guilty of promoting the idea that everyone needs to be all men need to be circumcised. So the answer to that is we've had a lot of indoctrination from different sources that said it's okay to cut off to trim the penis of boys. And now we're waking up to the truth, which is in what I call the spirit of truth is Yeshua HaMashiach, also known as Jesus. For those who have that faith, that's the faith that we need to not go into the fear that's coming out right now. Either faith in Yeshua HaMashiach, the spirit of truth, I call it, or faith in this amazing temple that we live in, that we can talk more and more about how powerful this vessel is to resist anything and everything around us in our environment.
Well, it's about mindset.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything.
Yep.
If you think you're going to get harmed, you will. Guess what? You're right. And if you think you're not going to get harmed, you won't. You're right.
Programming. We've been abused by all this misinformation and programming over the last 4 years, that I am so glad to see people coming out of that programming. And it took a lot of suffering of their relatives, just like you are talking about Bill dying yesterday. That's causing you to even think about his story and his life as you've written your story. But now you focus on Bill's life a little bit to learn something from Bill. So I would ask you, so what do you think the lesson that Bill left you? What's the greatest lesson Bill left you that you can also connect to your own story?
Well, it's what I didn't do. Live by joy.
Live by joy. Okay.
He lived by joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really, like when he knew he was dying. So I was talking to him May 28th, right? And he knew he was dying. And he had these misfolding proteins that I said that a symptom of the carrot juice. They see it in the autopsies, right? Of at the very beginning.
Right.
And he lived by joy. He really did. And when he was ready to go, I said, before I knew he was ready to go, I shared some options that he could, bring into his life as a way to self-heal. And I said, God's got your back. He goes, he does, but I don't know that he wants me to stay. And I said, I honor you. I said, if you are ready to transition, I said, I honor you. I love you. You need to go then. Because we don't want to hold people back. And if he's not having joy, which is, I can tell you, that's what Bill's about, living by joy. Because, in the last few years of his life, probably the last, I would say 10, he was traveling all over the place to have joy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not have stress.
Mm.
Live on the beach. Go to the Cayman Islands. Go to all these places and have joy. Be with friends. Have joy.
But
that's what he was here about.
There's something about going looking for joy versus having that joy within you, and you don't have to go look for it.
He didn't have to go look for it. He just went to the places that were joyful for him.
Okay.
Oh, he absolutely had joy inside him.
Yeah. But I have the feeling that even above joy is gratitude. If we don't have, I feel when you look at the map of consciousness,
which I have on my wall,
power versus force. Okay. What's at the very top in the blue zone is gratitude, joy, love, peace, things. But for me, gratitude is to me the most powerful, because when things aren't going well, for instance, people who may have taken the jab and they start feeling symptoms, they can either express joy or gratitude and say, well, I'm grateful I have this experience, but I'm going to overcome it with joy. And if you don't have the gratitude, if you're complaining, oh, I wish this hadn't happened, but I'm going to have joy. I'm going to go over here and have joy. I'm going to go over here, but I'm not grateful. Then that's when I think they miss the energy that can heal. Is that if you got to have the gratitude to know, like you said earlier, everything is a lesson. And I think that's what your book is.
So my book starts with gratitude. Well, my book starts the very first sentence is about how we manifest everything with gratitude. That's my first sentence in the book. Right? So my book starts with gratitude, and he had a lot of gratitude. My issue, Vieta, my lesson is I went to gratitude, but I skipped joy. Like, my husband teaches me to get out of the house and have fun. Like, I'm very mission driven, as you know, but I forget to go out and have fun. I forget to run out into the garden and tend to my vegetables that I'm growing. And I have a mindset which has to get shifted, right? Because this is my gift. This is the gift from Bill, right? Jodi, it's great that you're mission driven. Go get some joy. Go have some fun. Be with love. And that's my lesson, because my mindset, my programming was to work, 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 work. Awesome. Go have some joy.
So what role does music play in that for you, the joy? Because that's where I get my joy. I don't live, most of the time there's no one here in my house. My son's over here with the kids sometimes. My joy is music. I put on George Benson or some of my old favorites, and Yanni is one of my, and joy rises. And I could just be in that place all day by myself because my music. What role does music play in your life to get that joy?
So first of all, I love music. Aretha Franklin is
Oh,
one of my favorites. I grew up with Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson. I met Michael Jackson when I was a kid. I love music. What I'm trying to tell you, Vieta, is I'm hardwired not to feed myself joy, so the music doesn't go on.
okay.
The feet don't. My one foot does not walk in front of the other to the garden or to the basketball court. It doesn't do that. I have to retrain my brain for joy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not my gift.
Okay, so when you were a child, though, in your home with your your family, did you have a lot of music in your house at that time?
We did. So I have two stories for that.
Okay.
I remember my sister and I. This is the short one. Elton John has always been one of my favorites, and so we had one of those little phonographs of record players, and we sat in the foyer and played that music. My dad was self-employed, and he had a friend, one of his employees and family friend, because that's how we worked. If you were working for us, you were also family, right? And so Jack Humphrey came over. He painted for my father. He was a developer. And Jack Humphrey comes in and he teaches us how to dance, right?
No.
All 5 kids are lined up and we're learning how to dance. So it was brought to us, but I'm telling you, my brain was hardwired. And so here's what I want to give to people. So I'm telling you how I'm hardwired. Look at yourself. Where are you hardwired? Right? What are you doing that you're hardwired to do that maybe you could do a little less of and bring some joy in? Where are you hardwired?
Now, are you asking me?
Nope, just asking the community.
So, yeah, let me just pause here.
Answer that question.
Okay, let me pause here and see if you're in the studio and you want to answer Jodi's question, where are you hardwired, so she can kind of guide you into letting go of that or how to come out of that hardwiring. Or if you're in YouTube or Facebook, let me just read some of the comments here. When we turn off the outside noise and tune into ourselves, life will change and we will stop being afraid. Thanks for the awakening. That's from Zelda, our Monday morning mindfulness host. And I would say tuning into source inside is what will help us change from the fear. The fear is going to.
Can I interject on that?
Sure.
So we are source. So
exactly.
She's tuning into the inside.
Right.
There's a book called Living Judaism, and written by Rabbi, I think it's Dosick. And in the preface or the first paragraph or first chapter, he talks about how God breathed his light into these vessels when he was creating earth. But the vessels these glass vessels couldn't hold God's light, and it shattered. And each piece of that shattered glass holds God's light and created a soul. So we are God, right? So if you're
Well,
part
yeah.
of God.
And as I played a little before you came on. I played this very interesting YouTube video that Kwame sent me about water. We're 90% water or more, and
70, yeah,
there's
actually.
a woman named Vida Austin who teaches about water is source. Water is our God. So that we have within us 95% is water. Hydrogen 2H2O is the creator in us. So all of this that we're talking about, as Zelda said, the fear will leave once you really tune into the consciousness of the water inside of us. That's what the new teaching that she's bringing. And
Can I take that a step further?
yeah, of course.
So I have a different number. It's irrelevant. I mean, 70%, 95%, all good. It depends on how much you're drinking that day, right? But we're water. And so when you study Masaru Emoto,
Right.
who studied water, water holds its own consciousness.
Right.
And so, which is why I also in the book, I'm really advocating for people to lead with love, right? Because do you want to imprint on yourself and others love or hate? And when you see what that does to your cells, okay, I mean, because it's science, eventually science had to catch up with, you know, spirituality, right?
Right.
So I agree with her. And then I also want to say, because especially since Zelda's listening, I have I think 14 contributing authors in this book, the last chapter. And the last chapter is called Words Are Just Vibrations in the Air. And so each author is taking a word or a concept and explaining the vibration behind it. Like, so if I said to you, thank you, let's talk about gratitude again, right? I could say thank you to you, give you a big hug and kiss, hold you, you'd feel love, or I can use thank you as an exit strategy. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so we have to have more consciousness about how we're using words, the imprint that we have, and okay, there's an astrologer I know, okay? She's a great lady. I unfortunately deleted every single one of the things that I recorded of her. Why? Because I started picking up on she was imprinting on me something that like a soothsayer. Like, have you had your gallbladder out yet? I'm not having my gallbladder out. Never going to have my gallbladder out. When we speak like that, we're imprinting on someone their future. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we don't want that. So when you speak, if you're an astrologer and you're listening to this, the best way, and this is according to me, so you can choose however you want to choose, is this is an aspect that is prevalent right now. Under this aspect, we can see these kinds of things. That doesn't mean that's going to happen to you. You can choose differently, but you can have consciousness about it and consciously choose differently.
Absolutely. And that's what Emoto's book taught us, that the words are vibrations and they are impressed upon the water within.
Yes.
If you want to heal your body, it starts, as you said, with the thinking, the thoughts are things, and the brain. That's where it starts. This is government up here. Government is in control. This is a command center. All of that, it starts up here in my mind, like you say. And then whatever your thoughts are going to be imprinted in the water in your body. So if you want to heal your body, the thoughts have to be about healing. I have some people in my life who like to speak negatively about what the symptoms in their body. Just like you said, if anybody said, well, you're going to have your gallbladder out because I think maybe your gallbladder is weak or whatever. Look, no, that's not how I think, because I am speaking and thinking life to my gallbladder. Whatever energy that gallbladder would be putting out can be transformed, changed by this. That's what we're learning.
Absolutely.
That's what we're
And
learning.
I have tools that help people do that. I
Yeah.
use frequencies. I'm board certified now in neuro-linguistic programming through the Association of Integrative Psychology, which means I help people modify their behavior and their thought process for highest good. Now, NLP has been used for not good, but we use it for good. The I don't know, Vieta.
Let's take a break. I'm due for a break. So let me take a
Please, yeah. We'll pause.
when we come back, I want to touch on the emotional healing that your title starts out with, that emotional healing, which is so
I'll take
important.
you through that path. I'll take you through that path for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here. Let me see. And when we come back, if you have a question or comment, we've got a full audience in the studio, and we've got people listening in on YouTube and Facebook. So post your question, raise your hand, and I'll see your hand raised in the studio or on YouTube or Facebook.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show, as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society, the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our community. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host. Or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata.
And we are back. If you're just joining us, my guest today is the Reverend Jodi Suson Calhoun. She is the author of a new book, Healing Emotional Healing, Toxic Free Living. I love the title and I love that picture. I've had more people commenting on that picture when I posted the flyer. Everybody loves that picture. So you did good, girl.
Well, I have to give credit to Patty Chesser from she's part of the Florida Women magazine, and so I publish with them every month. And so she's the graphic artist, and she came up with that. It was really funny. I had to have an ego check because I thought my pictures were going to be on the book, and they're like, "Yeah, no." I'm like, "Oh my God, I missed it."
Yeah, that's
Any
author.
We have to have our ego check.
Well, any author, you're right. When you're writing a book, it's always, and when it comes time to what's going to be on the cover, it's like ego check. What's going to be the best message really on the cover? But I wanted just that commercial about peace. You want to join the peace movement. I think right now, Jodi, there is a global peace movement, but it's being met with resistance in our governments all over the world and in the military complex. We have resistance because the people want peace. So, let's get into the emotional healing part, because as we watch what's going on all over the world, even the violence, the war, we have to manage our emotions about all this. I mean, even if you don't have a TV, you don't have to watch all the war scenes, but if you got TikTok and if you're on YouTube, you're going to see what's going on in the Middle East. At least I do, because I want to keep up with global events and what's happening. So what are you saying and teaching your listeners and you're in your book about managing those emotions?
Yeah, so I do talk about regulating your emotions. And in order to regulate your emotions, we have to look at our environment. So let me back up, and this may take a little bit. Okay. So, first of all, disease doesn't manifest because of genetics, it manifests because of epigenetics, which is a fancy way to say your behaviors, your lifestyle, your environment drives your health outcomes, which means you have to be 100% responsible, radically responsible for the energy that you bring and the behaviors that you have, the lifestyle that you choose, because those things drive your outcome. Now, you say, well, how is that possible? Let me back up. There's the obvious. And we'll start with the obvious because that's easy. Are you drinking water that's filtered? If you're not, it's got at minimum 18 to 20 different contaminants at minimum. Okay. By the way, bottled water is not filtered. Bottled water has 38 total contaminants at minimum. Okay. Because it's leaching. The chemical profile is the same as your tap water. And then what they do is, they take out the icky tasting stuff, but then because it's in a plastic bottle, that plastic is now leaching into that water. And so you go from 18 to about 38 total contaminants. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is the air that you're breathing in. Okay. Are you dusting in the house, making sure that you have a clean environment? Number three, does your food have chemicals in it? Number four, and sit for this and wait. I want you really to hear this one. This is hidden. The hidden toxins that are coming from the computer that you're looking at right now, right, to watch this show. By the way, there's a solution for everything that I'm talking about. Every last thing. I don't give a problem without a solution. The hidden toxins from the 5G towers that are outside your home. And if you're not seeing the actual 5G tower, it might be because it's in that light bulb that's in that street lamp that's outside your house. Every one of them. Okay. So if we are not conscious of all these toxins, okay, that are in our body, it's not a good place, or even in our environment, because what we now know. So, and thank you, Zelda. Zelda's saying thank you for I donated to Tent City alkaline water, that they can do out of a stainless steel container. So let me try to explain this. Your body will not process toxins. So you were saying that 70% of our body is water. Well, the other part is fat, right? We have it's like 70, get the number. It's like 60% of the brain is fat. Okay. So if your brain is fat and you have fat in your boobs and your butt or whatever, and we know that toxins are stored in your fat cells. Why? It's a safe place to store the toxin while your rest of your body figures out how to function, because it can't function with those toxins. So it's stored in the fat cells. And so one of a few things will happen. It will either manifest as disease, or you get to someone like Vieta or me to help you learn how to get rid of those toxins. Now, I still haven't connected the dots to your emotions, and I'm going to do that now. Those toxins they have a lot of heavy metals in that water and in that food and in your environment. And it connects with the 5G, everybody, and you're like a magnet, and it's pulling on your nervous system. It's pulling on your emotions. And so I want to tell you, this is not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Absolutely. We've got some questions or comments. I want to stay current on the
Yes.
Zelda said, "Thank God for your big heart and generosity, Dr. Jodi, our unhoused residents of Tent City in Chicago. Really appreciate your donation of the tanks for alkaline water." And I say thank you to Jodi. Anybody who helps the homeless in Chicago should be given a prize, because I think it's crazy that in a city that gets so cold, they don't have a better plan. And Zelda is making a big difference in Chicago. She says we will also be distributing alkaline water today. How that's amazing, pretty amazing. And then Naima Latif, our
well, and I need to start out to Zelda, back at her, because she religiously goes out there every Friday. I watch her do this.
Yeah.
She religiously goes out and she gives, and she is a light. She is a bright light among the, and some stars have dimmed their light, but she shines hers bright.
Absolutely. That's her church. Thank you, Zelda, for going to church every Friday. And Naima Latif says, "Greetings, beautiful, enlightened teachers. Thank you for bringing us such empowering information. Congratulations, Reverend Jodi." And Zelda is saying, Fagala agrees. Zelda, I think that's the birds here. They are so loud. They're trying to outdo.
No, she's loud. Let me go get her in. Let me go bring her in.
But I don't know, Zelda, if you're hearing the birds here as well, because they're so loud. They're trying to outdo me, which is okay. I don't mind at all. But she says we hear her chirping in the background. Well, I haven't heard Fagala as much as I'm hearing these critters here, especially well, that's not a cardinal chirping right now. I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody who knows birds can tell me what that bird is that keeps interfering or agreeing with us today. That Fagala will agree, and we're going to hear from Faye. Jodi's going to get her bird creature. And I want to go back to the idea of all these things around us that are toxic, and how we really can filter and not worry about them, not just with water, but with our emotional intelligence. Look at there. And Jodi introduced the girls to everybody.
Or that was Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell.
She's a little, I used to say she's introverted, but the truth is she's not. She's wounded, like her mama.
Yeah.
I used to say I was because I am an introvert, I thought. but I know how to speak and use my voice. But the truth is, God said to me, Jodi, you're not introverted. He says you're wounded. And so I think there's also this distinction to be made about whether or not we're introverted or wounded, inside, which stops us from using voice.
Well, but how do you heal that wound? That wound can heal totally, really. How do you heal? How are you healing your wound? How have you been healing your wound in particular? Because we all pretty much by our parents' ignorance, I would say, just for one.
Well, it was more than that. I mean, I remember back in 2000. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
In 2016, well, it was actually earlier than that, but I was reclaiming my health. I find out that I have food sensitivities and I'm allergic to 135 different foods, and one of which of them was gluten. Now, I'm no longer allergic to gluten because I reverse food sensitivities in an hour for people. And so I do it now. But when I announced on social media that I was going gluten-free, I had like a attacking me like for my personal choice.
What? And you for going gluten-free?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so here's the thing, people. When did the internet? 1997, right? And many people became very brave, if you will, about using their voice while standing or sitting behind a computer or a phone. Saying things you would not ordinarily say. If you're at a party and someone says they went gluten-free, are you going to like ream them a new a-hole in person? Because if you're not going to do it in person, don't do it on social media. The vibration is exactly the same. Image is the same. The wound is the same. And why are you wounding someone else for their personal choice? Why can't we just all play in the sandbox together?
That's what the world is asking the Zionist mafia right now. Why can't we all play in the same? Because they are greedy, because they have an agenda. There's so many reasons why we can't play in the sandbox, because people's programming and their belief systems are not in alignment with the Creator's love, compassion, and wisdom is how I see it. And the wounds that we were inflicted on us, they don't heal, in my opinion, because we like to carry. Sometimes we like to carry those wounds for attention. Sometimes we're
committed to the wound
because we keep getting triggered, and the wound is not. It's like picking at the scab.
Let me answer your question and get rid of that wound.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, if I could share screen, that would be great. Let me see if I can. Look at that. Okay. So the first one is this is the book, right? That I'm sharing, and it'll it's in pre-sale now. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to share with you an article that I wrote, okay, about how you clear those wounds, and I actually give you direction on how to do this. Here, all clear. So I'm going to show you my blog, and it's called the All Clear Protocol. Okay. And I teach people how to clear stuck energy and emotion. So let's do that next. Okay. So that is here. So this is an article that I wrote for Topeka Health and Wellness Magazine and Florida Women Magazine. And then I put it on my website. Okay. And we have stuck emotions, and those stuck emotions get, you said, so then we can hold on to identity, right? And we can be the victim and all of that. Well, victimness isn't going to get you anything. And so I teach people what's called the All Clear Protocol. And when you are clearing this, you're accessing consciousness, you're accessing God, Okay. And I'll take you, but I'm not going to take you completely through. But what we do is I've created an agreement with my spiritual guides that includes that when I take out a thought form or an unwanted energy, behavior, action, or inaction from my field, it's taking it from my physical body, my subconscious mind, and my chakras, including the 5 below, above and below, my emotional body, my spiritual body, which includes the etheric field, unwanted cellular memories housed in my organs, tissues, and cells, any unwanted imprints that are left on me by myself or others, my entire lineage, my past lives, all my timelines, and all my alternate dimensions and galaxies. So the things that can be cleared are self-limiting beliefs, forgiveness, lack of self-forgiveness, abundance issues, anger issues, resentment, betrayal. The energy is endless, right? And this is something that I created. Well, the creator created it. I shared it. He created it. And so I put that link in the thread so that people can have access to it. Now, when you read the article, there's a link to YouTube. I give you the exact direction on how to clear that energy, not only in written form, but also in a video. And so I'm actually going to share that video here. Let me just do a quick presentation. So there's this energy, releasing stuck energy and emotions, all clear protocol. And so I'll share that as well, because otherwise you're choosing to stay stuck in a thought form that's not serving you. So that's how you clear it. And as you become aware and you process your emotions around it and you're accountable about it, you can clear it.
So
look, and I do this every day.
So we're talking here about emotional intelligence, they call it, because every day, if you have a husband or in my case, grandchildren, oh my goodness, these little angels, star seeds, they're not of the usual children that we grew up with, in my opinion. They're smarter. My grandson, who's 7, he'll be 8 next week, said he was my great grandpa. He was my grandfather in another life. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? How do you know that? And it's like, okay,
oh, that's true. He's actually a clear cognizant.
Exactly. We can put all. Yeah, we got all kind of names for him because he comes up with some doozies. So whether it's the grandchildren or the husband, we could get into, let's say, rejection, because my grandchildren often don't want to do what I tell them to do, or they don't want to follow my advice. And it's always in love in my part. But I was talking about this with someone. At one point, you could feel rejection by them, which puts you in, I said, victim mode. That I don't want to be in victim mode with them. I'm not going to be in victim mode. So instead of rejection, I have transformed that to resistance. It's not about me. They are resisting what they might feel is too much control. When you're looking at these indigo children, let's call them indigo children, they're powerful beings, is what I call them. They don't want to be controlled too much. Now, too much is like their analysis, not mine. I'm like, don't ride your bike in the street. Well, I want to ride my bike in the street because I like riding in the street. I like the freedom, but it could be dangerous because especially in my neighborhood, people on their phones, they're not paying attention. I'm like, you'll be safer on the sidewalk because these days, even I don't ride my bike in the street.
So here's what they hear though. When you say don't do X, don't run across the street, they hear run across the street. So what we learn to do is to reframe it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So what's your son's name or your grandson's name?
Jonah.
So Jonah, I love that. So start with making him right. Jonah, I love that you're riding your bike. Sometimes drivers are not paying attention.
Exactly.
You might want to look at giving his power back. You may want to look at riding that bike on the sidewalk because you can't control that driver, but you can control you, and you're in control of you.
And between
So
his
you
dad,
just empowered him.
and
Yeah.
I, he loves riding on the sidewalk now. We don't get that resistance because I was going to say with Bill, I don't know how much support Bill had in his life, but sometimes that's important when you're struggling with dis-ease, as it is with. I have a
He
client.
did. He had a lot of support.
I have a client in Texas. She lives alone. She doesn't have any friends. She doesn't go to a church, and she's struggling with 4th-stage cancer. So I have been tapping with her and sending her messages, and so far she's doing okay. I'm hoping
Tapping's amazing. So, and I also do. I don't know if this is really considered tapping, but I do this.
Clapping. I
do this.
Clapping. Yeah. Do that.
You call it clapping.
Yeah.
So it's so critical, especially if you are someone who can't get out of bed, right? You're releasing stuck energy.
That's right. That's right.
It's just another way to release stuck energy. And then you combine that with the metaphysical or spiritual component, and that stuck energy is going to leave. So my approach to releasing stuck energy is not one and done, right? You still need to change your lifestyle. You still want to do, some other modalities to get those issues out of those tissues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're almost out of time. Wow.
I
Jodi,
want to just acknowledge Zelda real quick. She's a contributing author to the book.
yeah.
So we have 14 contributing authors. She's one of them. Very grateful for her contribution. I just wanted to say that before we ended. So
where can people get the book and keep up and follow you, Jodi? Give us that information.
So thank you for asking. So the book is on my website, which is susonessentials.com. I put a link already in the thread. And so in a portion of the proceeds are going to Environmental Working Group, Environmental Health Trust, the Organic Consumers Association, and the Alliance for Natural Health. And so we are honestly looking at a December distribution date. God has a plan. I think it has to do with, I think it has to do with the fact that he wants it done on the solstice, which is 12/21. And that's no surprise.
Right.
So what you got there?
Well, we're going to play our closing movie. We got a movie now. And Jodi, I am just so grateful that you took the time. I know what a busy woman you are. And just say grateful to you for taking this time to share your journey with us, and wishing and praying for you to have all the success in the world. Oh my goodness, your light is so bright. And those birds are just part of this picture, part of the message. Hey, Fagala.
Well, they're part of the book too. I will say that they're in the book because they each also had a journey where they reclaimed their health. She couldn't fly when I first got her. The other one couldn't fly when I first got her. So, they also had to reclaim health. And so I'm trying to help people understand about the consciousness and the messages also that our pets are giving us, that they're not just a dog with a tail.
Right.
If they're barking at you,
yes,
pause and listen. There's a reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you so very much
for
having me. You are a bright light.
My pleasure. We got to do this again. Let's do it again later in the year when the book is out in bookstores and everywhere. We'll have to do this again and promote it. Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Right. Well, everybody have a great day. And by the way, are you still in Georgia?
I am in Georgia. So I live in Powder Springs, Georgia, and we love it here. The weather is good. It's much better than Chicago and shoveling snow. So,
oh yeah. I was telling people earlier, being in Florida, we're surrounded with wonderful water. It stays humid here, and we love it. Keeps our skin nice and moist.
Well, right. So how old are you, Vieta?
I'm 69. I'll be 70 next March.
Right? And look at how gorgeous you look. And I'll be 61, right? Look at our skin. So people listening to this and you don't like your skin, you heal from the inside out. Don't use the creams. It's not doing it.
Right. I've been using vitamin E liquid on my face for probably 30 years now. And then I've added frankincense because some of the little freckles are trying to come through. And I'm like, not today. But my whole family has freckles. So anyway, I digress. But vitamin E has worked for me for years for my face. I don't get any breakouts or anything like that.
Yeah. So vitamin E is really good. I also use frankincense. doTERRA, and I don't use it all the time. I have a small thing of it. Me almost over a year to go through it because I don't use it. I only use it when I've accidentally forgotten to drink my water and stay dehydrated. I get dehydrated. But really, you heal from the inside out. You want to drink clean water. That's the fastest way to heal inside out. So, and it's cheaper than buying bottled water.
Absolutely. So, water. Definitely agree. We got to filter our water. Stop buying this stuff and just learn how to filter the water. So that's how we do it. Thank you again, and we're going to say goodbye now to our global
Japan. Arigato.
As always, I want to say thank you to my yogi friends, Namaste and Satnam. And my heart is in Hawaii. Oh my goodness, wish I was there. Aloha, aloha to all my brothers and sisters in Hawaii. Stand strong in Lahaina. Maui, you got this. We got you. Stand strong. And everybody have a wonderful day. Get out there and breathe in the water.
Yes. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
I said it. Goodbye. Breathe in the water. It's everywhere, and it's the source. The creator is the water. It's there to help you on this amazing journey we're on. Love, 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 and much gratitude to everyone.